Guyana's breathtaking landscapes are not just a source of pride, they're a source of potential. Under the visionary low-carbon development strategy, the government of Guyana is unlocking the economic power of our natural resources in a way that promotes sustainability and empowers communities. One of the most exciting areas of growth is apiculture, the production of honey. With the support of the Ministry of Agriculture through the Guyana Livestock Development Authority, GLDA, the government is transforming this sector into a cornerstone of our economy. The goal is ambitious: to increase honey production by 200% in the short term and an incredible 500% in the long term. The vision is to transition Guyana from a net importer to a net exporter of honey, putting our nation on the map as a regional leader in honey production. This initiative is more than economic, it's about people. By targeting hinterland and riverine areas, the program provides sustainable livelihoods for local communities. With rich natural flora, these regions are perfectly suited for producing high-quality honey while preserving biodiversity. The Guyana Livestock Development Authority, supported by the Ministry of Agriculture, ensures that participants receive comprehensive training and the tools that they need to succeed, from beekeeping techniques to startup resources like bee colonies and protective equipment. This program leaves no one behind. This effort is guided by the Low Carbon Development Strategy, ensuring that the growth of the honey sector minimizes environmental impact. Bees play a crucial role in pollination, maintaining biodiversity, and supporting ecosystems. In a feature address to the inaugural Honey Fest hosted by the GLDA recently, Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa said government is committed to ensuring that honey production realizes the potential that has only been spoken about over the last few decades.
All the time we were talking about the apiculture industry in our country. Everyone was saying about the potential of this industry, that this industry has great potential. And long decades ago, we heard those conversations that the apiculture industry has great potential. But there was no one there to harness that potential. We normally up to 2023. Guyana produces just over 2,000 gallons of honey for the entire year. Although we would have had people producing honey a long time ago, but today we have seen that this sector is taking off. Why? It didn't just come on the stream and everybody, or those who have gone into the apiculture industry say that we go into do honey and wear bees. But because of the support, because of the investment government has been making in this industry, we want Guyana to be a major honey producing country. We want Guyana, as first of all, we heard last year's production was just over 2,000 gallons. At the end of 2024, to date, I understand through GLDA that production have already reached the 18,000 gallon mark. I am hoping by the end of the year, we will increase that. Imagine from 2,000 gallons in 2023 to 18,000 gallons by the end of October 2024, 10 months. 10 months we can able to produce 18,000 gallons. Why? Because of the investment. Last year, we would have invested over $200 million in the apiculture industry. You heard the Director General alluded to the fact that we have specialists from Cuba who are working with their Guyanese counterpart to improve and train people in apiculture in our country. We have targeted a number of areas in our country to ensure that, first of all, we create economic benefit for people living in those communities, and the most important, that we produce honey of a high standard. And with Guyana vast land space, with Guyana vast vegetation, and we can have different types of honey. You all will know that, the specialists will know that more than me. If you have apiary and you have hives in the mangrove, you'll have a better quality of honey than you have in the other vegetation in our country. And we have land stretch of mangrove in our country.
Guyana's apiculture industry is overseen by the GLDA, an agency of the Ministry of Agriculture. Acting CEO of the GLDA, Dr. Dwight Waldron, says the industry is being provided wind beneath its wings by the interventions of government, a government that has stated clearly its intention to realize the full potential of the honey production sector in Guyana through the provision of vital support, both financially and through the provision of technical support. This trust involves youths and women in joining the business of honey production, inclusive of the value-added aspects.
I want to touch broadly on, or cover broadly, all the females, the youths, those apiculturists that would have been with us over the years, decades at this. I think now is the time for them to really shine, because we are on an upward trajectory in terms of being in a position where we're developing certain policies, not only at our board level, but from central government. And for me, I always believe once you have the political buy-in with anything, half of your work is completed. With that being said, for the past few years, and I can go back as far as 3 to 4 years, when you look at where we were in terms of an industry, there were no conversation about an apiculture industry. What we used to hear about is a few beekeepers, or we would hear about gas. Now we're looking to develop an industry, and what we would have done as an entity thus far, we would have engaged stakeholders, key stakeholders in all 10 administrative regions, looking at the productive side and also the scientific aspect, which includes the epidemiology, disease testing, testing for residues in honey. We've been collaborating and receiving assistance from Partners of America. We have universities in the US with whom we're collaborating.
The GLDA's nutrition laboratory, which was recently upgraded with state-of-the-art equipment, now allows for accurate testing of honey products and for ensuring better nutrition management of hives. The nutrition lab also enables the entity to identify and prosecute those producing or importing fake or adulterated honey and passing it off on an unsuspecting population.
So we have also an international recognized company, FOST, that is working with the GLDA and they were instrumental in the development of our nutrition laboratory. And that facility is where we do all the quality assurance testing for honey. And I'm sure many of you would have heard a lot of praise, coming from one section of the social media platform in terms of what we would have done in the past to deal with adulterated honey. Well, I can proudly say to our national population and the region that we have been aggressively going after this and preparing and equipping our facilities so that we are in a position to not only deal with adulterated honey, but we're now moving towards classification of honey based on forage type, location, etc. So a lot of monies have been place into this. For 2024 alone, we would have made an investment of close to 43,000 US in terms of equipment to aid in dealing with the quality of honey. We don't want, once the Food Safety Authority is up and running, that we're in a position to prosecute, and we're not into the business of prosecuting anyone. We don't want to do that. But we know the part of our borders are open and persons are enticed and want to do things a certain way. But our role is to not only protect our local industry, but also to ensure that the consumers receive value for money and that our national population there receiving what they're supposed to, which is pure honey. That is part of our mandate, and that will be transitioned pretty soon to the Food Safety Authority. And they have an excellent facility that will be complementing what we're doing in terms of testing also.
Over the last 4 years, local honey production has been impacted by the weather, and according to veteran apiculturist Lyndon Stewart of Kingdom Apiaries, production levels are positively or negatively impacted by the weather at different times of the year.
The current production of honey so far, Guyana produce anything like about 40 to 50 tons of honey per year, which is very low. If you check all the 10 regions, it's very low. And there are some persons who will not give you accurate production, because you know why. Persons with producing a little more, but they will say, no, we didn't produce that much. Now, the production of honey, as I mentioned earlier, depends on the season. Adequate amount of rainfall will give you adequate amount of blossoming after the rainy season. Inadequate rainfall will give you inadequate production, because the trees only blossom according to the amount of rainfall it gets. Extended rainy season will cause trees to blossom late. Rainy season cuts off early, the trees start to blossom early, and the honey flows also will be adequate. Now, there are two flows in Guyana, two seasonal flows in Guyana, and we have a short flow early in the year, the March-April flow, and then we have the September-August flow that goes right down to December-January.
According to Mr. Stewart, this prolonged dry weather has resulted in reduced production, which picked up again after the last rains in May-June this year. The flows are now underway, even though there is once again a dry spell. An important part of apiculture is what is known as queen rearing, a function that was traditionally left up to the various hives to produce their own new queens. This is where Guyana's friendship with Cuba is bearing sweet results. 3 Cuban specialists in queen rearing have been in Guyana over the last year, working with local beekeepers in rearing queens and other aspects of growing a hive. Mr. Mario Hernandez is one of our Cuban specialists, sharing his knowledge with local beekeepers.
Bueno, hemos venido aquí con la intención de ayudar a mejorar la producción apícola en Guyana.
He's here to better and to improve the bee industry here in Guyana.
Okay. What have you found? Compare here to back home.
Okay. Viendo lo que tenemos aquí en Guyana y comparándolo con lo que tenemos en Cuba, habría que ejercitarse un poco más en lo que es el entrenamiento de los productores, de los apicultores.
Good. What is different here as compared to Cuba is that they had to do training for the producers here, more training.
Back home, your bees are not Africanized bees. These bees you found here are more aggressive. How have you been able to adapt?
En primer lugar, quisiera decir que aunque son especies diferentes, tienen un manejo similar. Y lo fundamental sería tomar las medidas de precaución y protección para poder trabajar con ellas.
Good. Even though the species are different, the production aspect and how you manage them is more or less similar. So you have to take safety precautions into consideration.
All right. Since you've been here, what have you been able to achieve in terms of training?
Bueno, desde que estamos aquí hemos estado preparando a los productores en medidas de manejo, sobre todo directamente en la colmena, cómo protegerse de la picadura y cómo obtener mejores cosechas, mejores rendimientos en las cosechas.
Good. The training for the handlers included how they could protect themselves against stings and how the producers could have more yields in terms of production.
Por ejemplo, la colmena está formada por una familia de abejas.
Colmada, ¿qué significa?
The hive is from queen mother, bee workers and drones. O sea, por una familia de abejas. El macho, las abejas obreras y las reinas. Aquí no nos hemos encontrado un programa de genética todavía, de mejora genética.
Okay, the training that needs that we need to do here is genetic improvement, because he was talking about the various, like the queen, the drone, whatever. It has everything to do with training on genetic improvement in general.
Are you satisfied with how the training is going, this collaborative effort?
Sí, hasta ahora han sido muy buenas sesiones de entrenamiento, sobre todo por la cantidad de participantes, muchas personas que han estado asistiendo a esas rondas de entrenamiento en diferentes regiones, sobre todo en las regiones del interior.
Okay. Yes, he's satisfied with training in terms of the quantity of persons that are interested in participating in the training. And for example, persons in the region are those outside of. Trainings are coming from all of the regions. Participants are coming from all of the regions, but they're more satisfied that it's coming from the hinterland region.
Government's help for honey production also encompasses the provision of equipment and materials, such as starter kits for women and youths who are interested in getting into the business of honey production, but may not have the startup resources. These starter kits include hives, protective gears, smokers, and honey extractors. In this regard, the aim is to provide equipment that supports sustainable beekeeping practices, such as environmentally friendly hive designs and organic methods of managing pests and disease in those hives. The apiculture sector has over the last 2 years shown remarkable resilience in the face of challenges posed by climate change and has grown in terms of the range of value-added products that are now available to local consumers. Royal jelly, beeswax, candles, soaps, creams, etc. are now all being manufactured here. GLDA has been supporting this value-added aspect of the sector through fruitful collaborations with the New Guyana Marketing Corporation, GMC, in the area of branding and certification by recognized agencies, vital in the face of threats to the industry by fake or adulterated honey. Honey production contributes to the economy by creating employment opportunities in rural areas, enhancing food security through pollination, and providing a sustainable income source. Environmentally, honey production aligns with biodiversity conservation efforts. Bees play a critical role in pollination, improving the yield of various crops while supporting the health of natural ecosystems. While the aim in the first instance is to double honey production, the long-term goal is to increase to the point where Guyana can become a net exporter of honey and honey products. And the vision doesn't stop there. The initiative aims to ultimately position Guyana as a global honey exporter, creating new revenue streams and financial security for countless households. The inaugural Honey Fest hosted by the GLDA recently brought together honey producers from all across Guyana and allowed for the showcasing of honey from different regions. Value-added products such as the popular soaps and lotions were all on display and available for sale to consumers. The event also showcased stakeholder agencies such as the Guyana Food Safety Authority, the National Bureau of Standards, and a number of financial institutions. One of the exhibitors at the event was Miss Linda, a beekeeper from Sandford in West Kanji, East Berbice. She says honey production has been the source of her livelihood for years. She is optimistic that the industry is now on the right track. A brighter, sweeter future is on the horizon. With the commitment of the government and the hard work of local communities, Guyana is poised to thrive as a leader in sustainable honey production. Together, we're creating a legacy of progress, one drop of honey at a time.